When I started playing Minecraft, one of the favorite things that I love to do was just go and explore, because every once in a while you would find a structure that was naturally generated by the game. I'm gonna cover all of the most forgettable structures in this video. So we're not talking about the stuff you know about, like abandoned mine shafts or desert temples or ocean temples, monuments. You know all about those. Let's go to the stuff that you probably have forgotten about or haven't seen in a while. So here we are inside of Minecraft, and this is the first structure that we are going to be looking at, the swamp hut. Now, when one of these swamp huts generates into the world, it'll actually generate with two occupants. One obviously being a witch, as this is sort of like a witch hut sort of thing, even though it's called the swamp hut. Witch, and our witch happens to be over here, just hanging out in the water. And the other occupant that generates inside of this hut is a cat. So you can actually see back here that this is a black cat, and they will spawn in as a stray cat, and it'll always be a black cat. So if you're in a world trying to find a black cat, maybe to complete your collection, you can always find one inside of a swamp hut. The biggest issue with these cats is that if they happen to fall, just like this one did right now, cats will eventually drown in water. So if this cat is not able to get back to any source of solid land within a certain amount of time, then they will die, which is really, really sad. And it looks like this cat is not doing a very good job of finding solid land. So this cat is probably going to die. I just can't let that happen. Come on, little kitty cat. Witch, get out of the way. We are saving a cat. A cat saved is a good day. So there you go, little kitty cat. I'm gonna leash you to this mushroom. No, I'm just kidding, you can't do that. So just stay here, little cat, and don't die. With this structure, basically what you see is what you get. They have a cauldron and a crafting table, but that is really it when it comes to secrets or anything really cool about them. There is some interestingness with how they generate, in that their legs can extend all the way down until there's any ground. So if there happens to be a ravine that one of these spawn over, they will have a gigantic pillar leg until they hit solid ground. This is very similar to generation for normal villages. And there is a slight possibility that two huts will spawn on top of each other. So you may very, very, very rarely see a hut with two stories basically on top of it. The next structure that we're going to talk about is the Woodland Mansion. Here's one right here. They can generate in two different biomes. First being the dark forests, and second being the dark forest hills subtype. This one happens to be in the hills subtype. And they can be anywhere from 2 to 3 stories tall, with a ton, an absolute ton of rooms inside of them, and all those rooms are different. I think that I messed up the generation by teleporting here. You know, I created this sort of issue here because I teleported right where that space is. But what you should do whenever you find one of these crazy things is go exploring a little bit, but make sure that you are fully equipped, because there are lots of very dark rooms that will spawn very bad creatures. And on top of that, this is one of the only places that you will ever have naturally spawning illagers. The other ones being the illager outpost, normal pillager raids, and then like raids inside of Minecraft. All of those can also spawn illagers. If you happen to be looking for a woodland mansion, it is most likely because you want the Totem of Undying. These guys right here, evokers, are the ones that carry them. You can tell that they're evokers because they have that nice golden border to their clothes. So let's give this guy a punch. Boom. And there you go. That is the Totem of Undying, which you can get from those guys. This is a very, very, very difficult place to fight in. Let me reiterate, because of all of the different creatures, I turned on some night vision so I can easily see all of the corners of this mansion. because of all the creatures. The Illagers are really, really powerful, and especially the Evokers. Those guys should not be messed around with. So if you are unprepared, you will get hurt and die. There is quite a lot of loot inside of one of these buildings. Any of the places that have like a second story inside of their own room, they tend to have chests on the upper levels. Let me find one of those. Okay, well, I'm having trouble finding rooms that have really good loot, but there are many rooms that do. If there's normally a lot of chests, there tends to not be any loot inside of them. If you happen to see obsidian, there is a very good chance that there is a diamond block in that room somewhere hidden under the obsidian. If you happen to see kind of like X's, like the build sort of makes some X sort of things, that is another good indication that there is a chest. And then there's one room that's really, really mean that has a false ceiling that has 2 chests inside of it. So if you happen to see that the ceiling looks a little bit lower than normal, then that would also be an indicator that there is a chest. So really just keep your eyes peeled and use those tips in order to find chests inside of a woodland mansion. Now, how would you find one of these in survival? It's very, very difficult because they are very rare to spawn, on top of the fact that you need the specific biome for them to be inside of. So the best option for you to find a woodland mansion is to find a cartographer inside of a village and get them to trade you a woodland mansion map. This cartographer will trade me 10 emeralds and a compass in order to get the Woodland Explorer map. And unfortunately, this shows this one right here, obviously, but you are going to have to trade with them quite a lot in order to get up to the level that they need in order to have the Woodland Explorer map unlocked to you. The next structure is I'm just kidding. It's not actually the Desert Pyramid. That one you guys, you know about. But how weird is this? Look at how this one spawned in, completely surrounded by water. But our next structure is in the desert, so let's go find it. Here is the structure we have been looking for. That is the desert well. Now, there really isn't much else to this desert well than what you see here. There's no secret thing that we can do with it. It just happens to be water that is inside of the desert, but they are incredibly rare. There is a chance that one of these will spawn in every 1,000 chunks. So pretty rare. To give you an idea, I have seen like 3, there's 2 desert temples right there. That's pretty crazy. But I have seen like 3 desert temples by the time that I was able to find a single desert well. So they are pretty rare if you happen to come across one of them. And that's about it. It's just really, structure in the desert. Done. The next structure in our list is the fossil. Now, this is a crazy find because this is a fossil inside of a dungeon, which is just crazy. So these structures are bone blocks that are hidden inside of the ground. They will only spawn in desert and swamp biomes. And when they spawn, there is only a 1 in 64 chance that the chunk will have a fossil inside of it. They also sort of degrade. So if you look at the fossil structure files, they are perfect. But whenever they are summoned into the world, they are normally filled with coal and not completely whole. And so there we have it. This is basically a fully exhumed fossil from naturally spawning inside of the world. The coal bits are part of the structure itself, unless there happens to be coal that naturally spawn, like, those like coal over there. But all these things that are sort of replacing the bone blocks, those are natural. They are sort of how this has degraded and decomposed over time. Fossils get forgotten very easily because you never run into them. I mean, it is so rare that you're going to be in one of the 2 biomes that they spawn in and all their variants, and also happen to run into a fossil. I don't think I have ever ran into a fossil naturally in a game, in like my normal survival game. These have always been something that I've had to go and find. There are different fossil variants, so there are some that look like these rib cages right here. There are some that look like skulls and other parts of massive creatures. Kind of makes you think there are these massive fossils from these creatures. Maybe one day there'll be a creature this large in Minecraft, or maybe they're all extinct, just like the dinosaurs. And we've come to the last structure. My favorite, and definitely the one that I feel like is the best of the structures that you probably forget about, is the igloo. This is a structure made out of snow blocks that can be found in snowy biomes. There are a few biomes that are excluded, like ice spikes isn't one of them. Inside, you'll find a bed, a furnace, and a crafting table, and an itty-bitty redstone torch. And that's what makes it so amazing. That's it, the igloo, that's all. There's nothing, no special, nothing incredible about... Okay, so there is actually a little secret when it comes to the igloo, which is really, really, really cool, and I forget about most of the time. That is that half of the igloos that spawn have a secret to them. Underneath the carpet, there is, in half, a trap door. That is right. So it'll be right in that spot. You could pull up all the carpet if you wanted to, but all of the rest will just be snow. If you happen to find an igloo that doesn't have the trap door, that'll also just be snow underneath that block. But you can go down the trap door. There is a secret building, a secret structure below the igloo, and this has a whole bunch of really, really cool things inside of it. And I just realized that I set my game mode to peaceful. I'm going to load up a new world and find another igloo so I can show you what's up with a real igloo if you're not in peaceful mode. Boo! This one doesn't have the trapdoor. Boo! 2 for 2. This one, I wonder if this one has it. I wonder if this one has a basement. I'm going to guess yes. This one has the trapdoor. Okay, cool. Let's go check it out. Okay, so down here you will find, as long as you're not in peaceful mode, a villager and a zombie villager right next to each other. You'll also find a brewing stand, a cauldron, and a chest with a golden apple inside of it and sort of this carpet. And you immediately want to pull it up since, you know, up there's a trapdoor. So you're like, oh, what could be under that carpet? Inside of the brewing stand is also going to be a splash potion of weakness. That means that you can, whoops, if you don't do that, you can take the golden apple and the splash potion of weakness, break the iron bars here, and turn this zombie villager, which is a cleric, into, boom, a normal villager. This takes about 4-ish minutes for them to transition back. So you have 2 villagers captured right here for you to be able to use however you want if you happen to find one of these with the basement inside of your world. Now, you do need to be careful because many of the blocks in here are infested. So you can see, let's find one. This one right here says infested under the target block over on the right-hand side near the middle. That is actually not just any block, that is a silverfish block. So if I just tap this with my hand, bam, silverfish. And if I punch it, then there'll be a whole bunch more silverfish that try to attack as well. If I keep punching without actually killing, they will come all out of the woodwork. I guess I should say the stonework, and will attack me. Wow, there happens to be an abandoned mine shaft over here. That's pretty crazy. Hey, come on. Get you. I'll get you. I'll get you. Let's see if now you are risking basically that if any of these blocks are infested, that your zombie will break loose, which is definitely something that you don't want. So we're going to leave these guys alone. So if you happen to be looking for some golden apples while you're playing UHC, and you also happen to come across an igloo, make sure that you don't forget to check underneath the carpet to see if there is a trapdoor there, because you are guaranteed a golden apple from that igloo, which is pretty nice. Pretty nice, if I do say so myself. Thank you so much for watching this episode of OMG Craft. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please give this video a big ol' thumbs up. Also, make sure you subscribe for future videos, tips, tricks, tutorials, and spotlights here on OMG Craft. See you next time on OMG Craft. Bye!